Yo, how's everybody doing? Welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we are going over my solo magicka warden frost build. This is for update 39 and will probably be still solid in update 40. I am going to take this into the Endless Archive when it does actually release. I might do it on PTS as well, so you can see it does work and it is useful. But for this build I went for a completely beginner approach, so it is beginner friendly. It is cost efficient as well. It doesn't cost a lot and you can pick the stuff up for relatively cheap. If I had to guesstimate, I would say it's around 30 to 40,000 gold, including crafting. If you do know somebody that crafts or you craft yourself, it is even cheaper. Now, for this build, the stats are 25.8k and 33k max mag. The health, it does actually go up with with the warden buff. Once that's activated, it goes to 28.2k, which is honestly more than enough health. It is really useful. It keeps you alive in content, and if I'm honest, just a nice amount of health to have. I have used this for quite a bit of content via my veteran, and it holds up really well. It does a nice damage. It has like a nice damage output, and everything else is pretty solid. So I'll just quickly show you the rest of the stats and what I run. I run the Thief Mundus with Potent Brew. You could use tri stats, so like Bewitched Sugar Skulls, but I'm using the Potent Brew for cost efficiency. Here's some of the other stats: core abilities, resistances, all of that good stuff. If you're into numbers, unlike me, short and sweet. Now, I will do the gear after I've done the skills. So for the skills, we'll have Screaming, Cliff Racer, Fetcher Infection, Deep Fissure, Inner Light, and Bird of Prey. Bird of Prey is there for the Minor Berserk, increasing the damage by 5%, which is raw damage, phenomenal. Inner Light for the Max Magicka, and the Major Savagery and Prophecy, which is also a big bonus, really useful to have. Deep Fissure is just Deep Fissure. What can I say about these? If you want to sort of sustain your magicka even more, I would say switch one of these to Stamina, preferably the Deep Fissure. Turn it to Subterranean Assault, which is still equally as good DPS, so it just has little to no effect on damage, but it's just helping your magicka pull out quite a bit. We'll have more than enough magicka and magicka recovery on this build, so it's perfectly fine. So make sure to get all of your passives, because all useful to have. Now this build is built around this passive right here, Piercing Cold. Increase your damage done by 2%, which increases to 12% when wielding an ice staff. If you look at us, we are wielding 2, front and back bar. Increases your damage output, so it's a win-win. If I do say so myself. Onto the back bar, we have Winter's Revenge, Unstable Wall of Frost, sorry, I was going to say a Wall of Elements, which it is, Dampen Magicka, Polar Wind, and Blue Betty. These two, you can use whatever morph you want. The Arctic Blast, which is the other morph, CCs and Stuns, which is also really nice for immobilising big groups of mobs. If you are farming XP, which is probably will be when the Witches' Festival hits soon. We have Dampen Magicka. This absorbs some of the damage. Well, actually, they're 5%. Couldn't say that there. Harness Magicka is also a viable option if you prefer that morph of the skill, which is completely fine. It is completely up to you. Just use this build as a baseline, like a sort of guide. If you want to chop and change things, just to say what works for you. It's your character, it's your build. Do whatever you like. But I'm just giving you some short advice that might be useful there. Obviously, the Ancient Knowledge passive, equipping an ice staff reduces the cost of blocking by 36, increases the amount of damage you block. Obviously, if you are taking quite the beating, blocking is very useful, and you've got an ice staff there as well, so that's a little bit of damage mitigation for you. Just to make sure we have all of the passives, yeah, heavy and light. You'll see why I've got heavy in a second when I go on to the skills. Make sure to get all of your major guild passives, very useful. Undaunted. Obviously, if you don't have access to these, make sure to get the Fighters Guild and Mages Guild relatively quickly. Always useful to have. Gear wise, now, this is a little bit unorthodox, but it works for me. Doesn't have to work for you, you can choose something completely different. But this is what I found was the cheapest, most cost efficient gear setup. That still worked really well. Now, I've went for Plague Doctor Helmet and Shoulder. with max health and chance for the extra health. You don't have to do this. In retrospect, it was a little bit overkill, but it's more of a oh shit, I fucked up and pressed the wrong skills multiple times and I don't know what I'm doing type of moment. So for me, it was really useful. I found it quite relaxing to know I've got a little bit more health than usual, so I can make a few more mistakes and be a little bit more relaxed while I'm doing content. But this also lets you tap into the heavy armor passives, which are always really, really nice to have, which are, because I can't remember everything off the top of my head. So that you get 8% max mag and stamina restoration. Each piece of armor you have equipped. Juggernaut, max health, constitution, health recovery, and then obviously mag and stamina recovery there, which is always nice to have. It's really, really useful. Everything all adds up. Now I've got 5 pieces of Julianos. Now obviously I've got 2 training pieces on because this is just something I sort of threw together to make it more cost efficient. Now not everybody's going to have perfect traits on everything. They won't be able to craft all of the traits or craft every type of set. So I've just used these to prove that you can just throw anything on this and it sort of still fades out a good amount of damage and will be still useful for everything. And Juliana's just a good set in general. It's always been solid. The other set is Mother's Sorrow. Now you can pick this up for relatively cheap now. When I first played ESO, it was pretty expensive when it became into the meta. It was really expensive. But you can pick these up for like 10k a pop if you just run around the different shops. There's 30k there, or if not cheaper. I got the necklace I think for like 4k because somebody was selling it really cheap. The max mag glyphs is always useful as well. I would keep those on actually because it helps you sort of relax a little bit more knowing you've got a bigger recovery pool there as well. I'm using the Ice Staff Mother Sorrow. As I said before, it doesn't have to be gold. This was just what I had on hand at the time. See, with the Maelstrom Perfected Ice Staff, you don't have to go and do Veteran Maelstrom Arena. You can go and do the normal Maelstrom Arena and just slot either a Lightning Staff or another Ice Staff with Mother Sorrow on here, and it's still going to perform just as good. The Maelstrom Arena Staff is just good for the increase the damage of Wall of Elements deals by 1206. That is a skill that we use a lot because it needs to be upkept most of the time because it's quite a portion of your damage on this build. EOEs is always useful. Yeah, that is what I run. Julianos 5-piece, 2-piece Plague Doctor for the health, 5 pieces of Sorrow, and then a VMA staff. Doesn't have to be veteran, could just be normal. It makes no difference at all, apart from a little bit extra offensive pen.